will lead to, you mentioned that some of the women who are elected are doing the same thing as men, and you would have voted for the original man in the first place, and that we should instead change the education system. But that arguably would take a very long time, and in order to implement the change that we want to see, we have to highlight role models of women, right? I mean, I agree that what Sugi said, that being a woman doesn't necessarily make you progressive, and I would go against the previous person who asked a question to say that I think Sri Mavo was one example of that, with several anti-Tamil policies and also, presiding over the statelessness of Malayaha Tamils. But I just wanted to ask, sometimes we can see a positive impact of a quota where it leads to actually little girls believing that they have a voice and a say in the world. So in that sense, don't you think there is a positive element?
No, I definitely love the idea about what you just said, about little girls daring to dream. But that doesn't come through legislation. It's what they actually see and experience in their own homes. It's how you lead your life within your home and community that will inspire them much more than a piece of paper. And I know that when I was commissioned my first book, Penguin International had just come to India, and my publisher and editor at the time told me not to put me down, but it was stated in such a matter-of-fact way that it shocked me. He said, I'd like you to know that there is no market for women's voices. And he was absolutely right. No one was willing to publish women writers. But look how many there are since then. That was 40 years ago. And women's voices are echoing across the world. It is a big step forward, but is it going to solve anything in a hurry? No, it's not. I'm not being pessimistic, but it's a challenge, and we have to meet that challenge head on, not by placing women in corporate jobs that they're necessarily not qualified for, because that's leading to a counter kind of backlash on women, with a lot of men who are better qualified, have better marks than them, are more suited to the job, being deprived of that job because a woman falls into that category and gets the job. And I don't think that's fair either. I mean, if I were a man, I would resent it terribly. I've also seen women who have gotten into positions of local government and in power, who are puppets of the men who didn't qualify, their husbands or their fathers-in-law, who use them just to actually keep their own agenda going and to exploit them in the name of, oh, but my wife is representing our village. But she's not. She's representing the interests of her own family, generally her husband, or a father-in-law, or a brother-in-law, or a brother, or even a son. I don't think that is progressive. That is tokenism, and tokenism long-term never ever works.
Could I